This is Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creators like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey Dream Drivers, welcome to episode 37 of the Dreams and Drive No Parking Podcast. And today our guest is Dawn Fitch, who's the president of Puka Pure and Simple. And there are so many words that I could use to describe Dawn, but just know that I love Dawn. You guys will know why I love Dawn when you listen into today's episode, but Dawn was the first person to give me an internship ever in life, and you'll hear the full story. And over the past 9 years, I want to say we have just developed this phenomenal relationship, and I consider her as family now. One of the things that we're going to be talking about in today's episode is what her pathway to entrepreneurship looked like and how she's been able to stay in the game for a whopping 16 years, you guys. This is a veteran entrepreneur that we're going to have on today's show. And she's going to tell you all about what it's like being, a beauty influencer, a beauty entrepreneur in the natural product space. I hope that you guys enjoy listening to Dawn's story. You will be inspired. She is an example of someone who found entrepreneurship by way of, getting healthier. I won't give away too much, but just know that if you want to get today's show notes, go to dreamsanddrive.com and click on episode 37. If you want to follow us on social media, all you have to do is go to Dreams and Drive across the board. Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You can find us there. I am so excited for you guys to hear today's episode. Enjoy. Hi, Dawn. Welcome to this episode of Dreams and Drive. I'm so excited to have you on today's show.
Hi, Raina. I am very excited to be here. Dreams and Drive, one of my favorite new podcasts. So I'm excited to be on here.
I feel like this is a long time coming, right?
Oh, yeah. Since maybe you were 18. Didn't mean to put your age out there.
For Dream Drivers listening in, Dawn and I go way back to high school. I think it actually was before I was 18 because I graduated when I was 18. I think I started working with you guys like 2 years before that. So Puka Pure and Simple, which Dawn is the president and founder of, or co-founder of, was my first internship ever.
Yes. We got a cute letter, not even cute. We got a very important letter from a young 15-year-old, probably at that point, about how interested she was in interning with us. We were so excited when you showed up, and you were a hard worker, even at 15.
I remember that. I read about you guys in Black Enterprise, and I saw that you were located in East Orange, New Jersey, and I lived in Orange. I loved health. I loved skincare, body products, and that was the start of like a lifelong connection. Like I feel like we're like family now. So
we are family, most definitely.
Yes, I'm so excited now to have you on Dreams and Drive. And do you remember when I was telling you that day that you need to start your podcast and you actually started yours before me?
No, you were the inspiration to make me start mine. And then I turned around, I'm like, look at Dreams and Drives taking off over there.
We'll definitely link to Dawn's podcast in the show notes. So you guys, if you want to go listen to, it's From the Kitchen to the Boardroom, right? That's the name of yours. Okay. So Dawn, the first thing I love to ask all our guests, and I try to keep the first question the same so everyone's on the equal playing field, is what inspired you as a child? So if I were to say, who was Dawn as a little kid, what would like your mom say? What would your sister say?
Oh, Dawn was very creative. I was always making things, anything like you put down, whether it's like a spoon, a book, a piece of paper, I was making something out of it. I was painting something on it. I was drawing all the time. I talked way too much and way too loud. I was very chatty, laughed a lot. I was just always looking for adventure and always looking for, something, the next thing to get into. I guess my mom would say I was easily bored, which probably wasn't good, but I was things just always intrigued me. So I was just trying new things all the time.
When you were
even as a kid.
When you were a child, did you ever imagine that you would one day own your own business?
Not at all. Actually, when I was little, I wanted to be a nurse.
Really?
Yeah, it's funny. I was just telling somebody this. I had both of my grandmas, and they were both born like in, I don't know, like 1910. And but they literally they were born like 1910, 1912. Both of my grandmothers, and they were actually both nurses. They both went back to school in the 60s, like pre-civil rights movement, and became nurses. So I was so proud, like growing up. I mean, as a African American young girl, I had two grandmothers that were nurses. So my thing was like, I'm gonna be a nurse. And then I saw blood, and I was like, maybe I'll do something else. I was like, that's not for me. But growing up, I was so like inspired and proud of them, that I really always wanted to be a nurse. So
But
really, business didn't really come onto the scene till later.
all right, so let's talk about that. So, I know your story, but a lot of people listening in may not know your story. So, maybe tell our listeners about what inspired you to launch Puka Pure and Simple, and like kind of how you got there. So, you were working in New York, right? You had a graphic
Yes.
design job. So, let's start there.
Mhm.
That part of the story.
Okay. My degree is in graphic design, so I was working in the city for a record label and working and designing CD covers and graphics and stuff. Great job, having a good time. And I just started getting run down every day going to the city. And I just thought, okay, I must just be tired, and I have to just start to do a little rest and feel a little better, and eat a little better. But as time went on, I just started feeling sicker and sicker. So I just started going to the doctor, and they just couldn't find anything wrong. And it was literally a period of years that I was going to the doctor, different doctors, and they kept sending me home and just telling me, you are the healthiest woman ever. Go home. There's nothing wrong with you. But I just kept feeling sick. And the worst thing is to get no diagnosis when you know you don't feel good. So they kept telling me I'm healthy, but I knew I didn't feel right. So I was like, okay, I'm going to have to do something, take this on, to myself and just try to figure out what's wrong. So I just changed my whole diet. I took out white flour, white sugar. I stopped eating pork, which, my father was devastated. What do you mean you don't eat pork anymore? Just changed all my diet, and I became like a label reader. I started reading the labels of everything I ate, and I love Bath and Body products. So one day I turned over one of the labels, and I was like, okay, I'm an educated woman. I couldn't pronounce any of the things on the label, any of the ingredients. So I did a lot of research, Googled them, and found out that they were like different kind of chemicals and preservatives that could keep these things on the shelves for like really long periods of time, like up to years. And I was like, all right, I'm trying to be healthier. I'm not going to put like products on my skin that are going to go into my system that are old. So just for myself, I just started making my own products along with eating better. I just started researching things that we eat, like olive oil and sunflower oil and safflower oil, and how great they were for your skin. So I just started getting into aromatherapy and different fragrances and different healthy products, healthy ingredients, and I started making my own products. But it was by no means did I want to start a business. This was just to feel better. But the graphic artist in me said, you know what? Anytime I made a little bottle of something, I wanted to put a nice, neat label on it. And my mother, when we were little, called us her Pucalitas. We have no idea what that meant or why, but we know it was a term of endearment. So I was going to just put that on the label, but I actually couldn't fit it. So I cut it in half. And every time I made something, I just put Puka on the label. And I really got into it. And every time somebody would tell me something like, oh, I have eczema or I have stretch marks, I was like, I can make you something. So I would go in the kitchen and I would make stuff. I had shea butter, all kind of like natural ingredients all over my house, all in my kitchen. I don't make any food in my house. You won't get any food, but you'll get moisturized. Um, so I had so many products and different things that I had tried. My friends, my girls were like, look, PNC has a African Art Festival every year. Why don't you take all this stuff down there? We'll get a table and see if you sell it. And in my mind, I had no desire to do that. I was like, and they just kept like badgering me. And I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking if I sell a couple things, there are these new pair of shoes that I want. That shows you how I think about things. I was like, so if I sell the stuff, I'll get the shoes and then everybody will be happy. So we set up a table. My mom made a beautiful table. We put a whole bunch of stuff out. I really couldn't even watch because I was so nervous. So I was sort of like standing away, watching people come to the table. And it was just amazing. People started coming to the table and my friends were explaining what the products were and people were buying stuff. And I'm standing in the corner like, oh my gosh, people are buying stuff that I made in my kitchen on my stove. It was amazing. And that day we sold out. We sold the entire table. And that's how we realized we sort of fell backwards into a business. We're like, I think we just started a business.
And what year
So
was this?
that was 2000. That was
Okay.
2000. Yeah. So it's been 16 years. This is our sweet 16 this year.
That's so inspiring
Yeah.
to hear. And I mean, I've heard this story so many times, but every time you say every time you say it, it just goes to show how like you never know what can come of something, right? Like you didn't ever imagine that you would one day be the owner or the founder, president of this largely successful bath and body products company, natural bath and body products company. But it's
Hmm.
funny because you said your grandmothers were nurses, and like I don't know if I'm just trying to make a crazy connection, but isn't it funny how you fell into entrepreneurship
Oh,
because of your health? Like, isn't that
right.
something to think about? And
At
how
you connecting the dots, Raina. I never really thought about
yes,
that.
and your
And they were
mission.
healers. Yeah.
Yes, and your mission, is to
Oh,
help people have something good for their skin to eat. So maybe you're now like
definitely.
a body nurse, right?
Raina, let me hashtag.
Dawn,
Hashtag body nurse.
Dawn the body nurse.
Right. I've never looked at it that way, but yeah, you're right. You're right. Because I mean, definitely like with my health, like everything from Puka stems from health. And like we just try to get people to think about their health and think about eating a little bit healthier. And I know it's hard for some people to just totally turn over a whole new leaf and just change their diet. But I think in this day and age, we need to start really thinking about how to just be a little bit healthier, drink a little bit more water, drink something green, have some vegetables, simple things, but it makes a big difference. And that's really part of the Puka mission is, just health, because that's why it started. It wasn't just about like, oh, I want some fun products. Like I was trying to feel better and be healthier. So that's definitely a part of the whole mission. And you're right. Hmm.
So when did you decide to quit your job, and like what were those first few months, first few years of business like for you?
Well, the good thing, well, not the good thing was, but I had left the music industry and I went to American Express actually, and I was designing credit cards. And I had been making the products, and actually because I was maybe like one of the first people in, they had massive layoffs, and I was laid off. So I was actually home already. Now,
Mm-hmm.
it came to me like the big decision came for me when I was offered another job, and I was like, should I take this job or should I really try to work with Puka? So that's sort of where I was sort of on the fence. And I mean, luckily, since I do graphic design, I was able to do some freelance design and keep myself afloat. But then I got an offer for a really good job, and that was maybe a year and a half in, and I was doing Puka. And at that point, I said, you know what? I'm out here. I'm doing it. I'm going to go for it. So I called and I told them that I wouldn't take the job. And then I cried after. Oh my God, did I make a mistake? But I'm a woman of faith. So I thought it was the right thing to do because we were just getting started and I was excited and I really believed in the product. So I was like, I'm going to see, I'm already out here. So I'm going to see, how far we can take it.
And
So.
looking back, I mean, I don't want to say like, do you have any regrets? But like looking back, do you still think you made the right decision of going for it?
Most definitely. The things that I've experienced in this business, like it's a lifetime full of like memories and just experiences that I never would have had. Like just the people that I've met, the people that have poured into me. It's meeting you. Like I'm on Dreams and Drive. But I mean, everything is connected, and I wouldn't trade this journey. And it wasn't always the easiest journey, lots of ups and downs. But I mean, it's been a great, fun ride, basically overall. So I think I know I made the right decision because we're still here and we're still thriving. So
Definitely. So let's talk about, one of the first big challenges you face. Because a lot of people listening in, they may not even have started their dream yet. They might be in park right now and are looking to get their car and to drive. So maybe talk about a big hurdle that you faced early on and how you worked through that with your team.
Definitely money. And financing a business is always a huge hurdle. At the beginning, I hadn't really, because we didn't plan on it being a business or plan on starting a business, we didn't go the route of, finish your business plan and get your bank loan and, do everything you needed to do before you even start the business. We were thrown right into the business and we were starting to get orders and we had put up a website and we needed money. We needed financing. So I started blowing through my savings and, my 401ks. And I was like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? But at that time, we hadn't built up any business credit. So there was really nowhere for us to get, and this is 16 years ago. There wasn't really anywhere for us to get any money. There wasn't crowdsourcing. That wasn't really big until maybe, the last 5, 8 years, really.
Mm-hmm.
So financing the business was a hard part for us. So it was very grassroots. I mean, we would literally go to a festival. We would sell a whole bunch of stuff. We would take that money and we would use that money to order supplies. And then it was just like a really hard cycle to do it that way, because everything that we made, we put right back into ordering supplies so that we could make the next batch. So we weren't making any profit. We were really not making profit at all, because it was just a hard way to do it. And everything, there were so many other expenses. We would make enough to actually order the raw supplies and the products. But as far as, the web maintenance and, any other things we needed, and some marketing and just, even office supplies, like everything was coming out of our pockets. So at the beginning, financing was very hard. We actually, maybe a year or two after that, we were able to get a small line of credit from Bank America. And that really helped to change our trajectory. Like, it just gave us a little breathing room. But at the beginning, it's really hard for small businesses to get financing. I always tell people, like, try friends and family, small business loans, like with your friends and family. Now there's SBAs and things like that are
Mm-hmm.
help you get loans. But for us 16 years ago, finances were the biggest hurdle for us, biggest obstacle.
And one thing I just want to say before we make anyone mad, I realize I'm forgetting the other three Pukalitas.
I know. I do have 3 partners,
Yes,
guys.
yes. So it's Dawn, who is the okay. Dawn, you share who your other three Pukalitas are in the Pukalita story.
I founded the business, like I said, because I got sick, and they came right in and said, "Look, we're gonna we're gonna help you." It was my sister, Donna Lynn, and she's not a country western singer. Lynn is her married name. Trisha Akinwandi and April Reeves, and Trisha and April are like my two, best sister friends, and Donna is my actual sister. So the four of us together formed Puka.
So that is the we that Dawn will
Yeah,
probably be
the same
referencing a lot,
we.
because I know I had to just keep remembering that I know who the we is, but
Right.
people listening in may not. So you were talking about that finances are definitely something that small
Yes.
businesses struggle with in the beginning. So do you have any other tips for people who are starting out who may not know like how to budget, who may not know like what are the key things that you definitely need to budget for if you're starting out with any business?
Well, first I say now get help.
Okay.
There are a lot of institutions out there like the SBA, there's SCORE. If you're Most SBAs are located like in colleges and universities. Go to the SBA. They really helped us at the beginning to start our business, and the appointments are free. They will give you all of the information that you need. They helped us get our tax ID number. They helped us to decide what was the right classification for the business. Should we be incorporated? Should we be a LLC? And these are things that are really important at the beginning. You want to set your business up the right way. They can also help you with finding, you may be able to find angel investors or people who want to invest into business. Now, there are now you can do crowdfunding, crowdsourcing, and also families. A lot of times, your families and friends, they believe in your dream and they believe in you. So you can they will help you to set your friends and family up if they would like to give you investments so they can be investors in your business, or they can just get a percentage of profit. But definitely at the beginning, go get help. I recommend the SBA. They were instrumental in us for setting up our business. But there's also SCORE, that's the retired executives, and you can go there. And all of these things are free. If you're local in New Jersey, there's Eiffel. There's just so many small business groups. There's no need to do this on your own, and they can finance you. They can counsel you on financing to marketing to, like I said, how to start your business up. But definitely go speak to someone at the beginning.
I love that you said that because I think a lot of people skip that step and then they don't properly, file
Set up.
things right.
Mhm.
And then it just comes back to bite them. And you
Oh,
don't want
most
that to
definitely.
happen to you. So
Yeah.
definitely take the time in the beginning. You might have an idea, the idea won't die.
No.
It can wait until you set it up properly. Because,
Let me tell you something else. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off.
no, no, keep
But
going.
just make sure, one, even if you're not ready to use it, get your domain. Buy your domain name. That's very important. And buy your own name. Buy your name, dawnfitch.com. You should own your own name because as a business owner, once you start to get into business, you're going to separate from the business. There's going to be the business and then there's going to be you as your own entity. And you never know where you might take that or where the business might take you. So you want to make sure that you always own your own name, your own domain so that you can, do whatever you like with it as your business grows. So buy your business domain and buy your own domain. I always think that that's really important
I have a
and
question
make
for
sure.
you.
Mhm,
Okay,
mhm.
what were you going to say? I'll remember what I was going to say.
Trademark things. Trademark your logo and trademark your name and your logo. You're not too small. Once you have set up what it is you're going to do, at least get the information. There are lots of trademark attorneys. Puka did not trademark our logo, and after we were in Whole Food stores, we were in at that point 20 Whole Food stores. We got a letter to cease and desist from using our name because we had not trademarked it. And there was another company called Pookie, and they made lip balms, and they said we were infringing upon their trademark.
Oh my
And we spent
gosh.
a lot of money to get a lawyer to actually have to fight this so that we could keep our name. So you're not too small. And these are things that, like when you go to the SBA, set yourself up right from the beginning, and you will be so much more successful at the end. You don't have to learn these lessons the way we learned them because they do cost you a lot of money when you have to go back and do all of these things that are easily done at the beginning.
And is that a significant upfront investment, or is it something that's pretty affordable when you're starting out?
It could be an investment, but there are a lot of lawyers that some will barter with you. Some will give you a payment plan. There are lots of different ways. Even if you don't trademark right away, find someone, get the information, find out how much it'll cost, find out what it is you need to do, the classification, so that when you're ready, you can easily step into it. I'm not saying you have to trademark on day one, but it's something that you don't want to forget. Like when you get to that point where you're super successful and everything's going great, and then somebody says, oh, you're using my name and now you have to rebrand everything that you spent a lot of money on. You don't want to have to do that. So that should always be in the back of your mind of, when we get to level XYZ, we're going to make sure that we trademark, it should be a part of your plan.
Oh
A lot of
wow, I need to do that, Dawn.
people do, you do.
Someone might come and
Oh,
say, I am Dreams and Drive Education." I'm like, no.
and it's true. And make that and well, I mean, there are some loose rules to who's been using it first, but if they've already completed their trademark, you could lose that. And you've put so much effort and so much work into it to have to change the name, it just you don't want to do that. And you hopefully own dreamsanddrive.com.
Oh
I'm not
yes,
gonna
I do. I
oh,
do.
good.
That's
Good
the
job, Raina.
website where our show notes are. And you know
Exactly.
what? Sometimes I would even recommend people, if you think there's other iterations. So let's say, like for you, I don't know if you own it, but let's say puka.com. If it's available, even take the short and stuff, and you can always redirect it to Puka Pure and Simple. So
Exactly.
think about different iterations of your name. Even if people might spell it wrong, own the wrong spelling
Exactly.
of your name too,
Exactly.
so that
Right.
people, you can be redirected to the site.
Yeah, domains are cheap. Buy them and just let them sit there. Like you said, I mean, domains are cheap for a year. You can buy, quite a few domains. I mean, I have Pukalita, I have, Puka Pure and Simple, Puka Simple. I mean, I have wrong iterations of the name I have. I've got a whole list of them. But I mean, you can't be too cautious, so you might as well own them.
Hmm. So, Dawn, one of the things, and I wrote this down when I was thinking of questions to ask you, is the story of evolution, because I believe, I came into Puka's story when you guys were in East Orange, right? So,
Right.
for people listening in, you guys used to have a warehouse space that on Saturdays you opened up to the public, and it was also functioned as like a retail store, so people could come in and shop. And that was
Right.
your first. Was that your first location? when you
No,
guys?
that was actually our third.
Oh wow. Okay.
It's
Okay.
the third. Yeah, that was our third. The first one was, well, my apartment was the first one, but from there we went to. I started working at a restaurant. Something I really didn't want to do, but money got tight, and I had decided I was going to stay with this business. And so a friend of mine opened up a restaurant. He's like, "Hey, come and waitress at my restaurant." And I was like, okay. And I really didn't want to do it. I was like, I have my degree. I work so hard. And now I'm, slinging ribs that I don't even eat. But this guy owned a restaurant. He was such a great mentor, learning from him. So sometimes you may have to do things that you really don't want to do at the time, but I learned so much from him. And I worked, at the restaurant for about 2 years. And he learned about me, and he learned about my business, and like he helped me so much that he opened up a catering space next door, a really beautiful catering space. And he said, "You know what? I'm only going to use this space nights and weekends." He said, "If you want to have a store here," he said, "I'll let you use the space as a store." Now that is such a testimony to, oh my goodness, I didn't want to be a waitress. I didn't want to, these are things I didn't want to do, but I got a fabulous mentorship out of it, and a store on Bloomfield Avenue in Montclair, and he charged me like half the times he forgot to even collect the rent from me. And the rent was minimal, like, maybe $100, something silly. Like it really was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our first location was Montclair, New Jersey. We had a retail store for about a year and a half, 2 years. But then he moved his restaurant into that space. So we got our first warehouse space after there. And then we got the first warehouse space and we outgrew that. And that's when we moved upstairs. And that's where we met you, Raina. So that was
Okay, so
actually
you guys were downstairs at first?
downstairs. We were downstairs at a smaller space. And things really started growing, and we were like, you know what, let's take a bigger, so we took a bigger space upstairs.
Okay, that
Yeah.
that space was really. I feel like that's where I don't want to say that's where like Puka as you know it was really developed, but the Puka as I know it, that's like one of my favorite memories. Working in the warehouse, you guys used to have really fun parties every month. It was just such a community, and that's one of the things that I think you've really built with the Puka Pure and Simple brand is Puka is a community, and you go and you feel welcome when you come into the Puka space. So definitely kudos
Oh,
to that, Dawn.
Raina.
so
But
the re-
that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
And the reason why I said, I wrote down the story of evolution, don't fear the journeys, because that's not where you guys ended up staying, right? So,
Yeah.
talk about the next two moves. What
Hmm.
happened, high points, low points. So, after your space in East Orange, New Jersey, you then moved to another retail location in Orange, right?
And this same friend who opened a restaurant had opened another restaurant, and he had opened this space in Orange, and he was leaving this space, and he's like, "This is a beautiful space. It's a beautiful retail space." He's like, come and see it." And at that point, I didn't really know if I wanted to do retail, but like I said, for me, it's all about faith. So he said, "Come and see it." I went and saw it. I fell in love with this space. It was a beautiful space. It had exposed brick. It was gorgeous. It was an old restaurant. So therefore, we had a huge storefront, but we could also do events. There was a kitchen in the back where we could make products, and there were offices downstairs. This place was phenomenal. So we moved into this space, and it was really, really good because we were able, just like you said, to have our community. It was big enough for us to do all of our events. But what happened at this space is, as we all know in business, location, location, location. And although it was a great space, it was off the beaten path. And people just, unless they knew and they were coming to Puka, we didn't get any walk by traffic, and we didn't get any, just people walking by, nothing. So that became to, really become a really big problem for us in this space. We were still doing well with our parties and our people, but we weren't growing that community. We really thought, especially with retail, you have to be in a really good traffic area, and we weren't. So we weren't sure what to do. I mean, it still by no means was bad or a bad location. We just thought it would have been a little bit better. And then we were approached by a realtor that said, "You know what? You guys need to come down to Newark. Prudential is building brand new towers in Newark, New Jersey, and there's lots of space down there. You have to have some, a good online business, a good wholesale business, because it's going to be 2 years of construction before this building comes. But when it comes, it's going to be phenomenal. So we talked about it and we decided to take the chance. So we closed the store in Orange and we moved to Newark. And that was about 3 years ago. And when we got there, we were on Halsey Street, which is sort of in the college area where Rutgers is. And we were waiting for them to start building. It was nothing but dirt across the street. And this is where the Prudential Towers are going to be and house 3,000 new employees. And we were directly across the street. We locked in a 9-year lease and we really sort of nestled down in there to wait for this building to open. And it was a tough 3 years. It was a tough 3 years. There are things that you just always can't foresee. While waiting for the building to be opened, there was no parking. That's not a pun on your show, but there was no parking in the area. So a lot of people, didn't come down. They wouldn't come to see us because there was no parking, and we really didn't factor that in that much. And because of the construction, we had some damage to the building. So then they put up the, I forget what it's called. The scaffolding. So for 1 year, we had scaffolding in front of our building and people couldn't see us. And also our landlord didn't get the correct permits. So when we moved down there for the first 4 months, we were closed. So we were paying rent, but we weren't able to be open to the public because the landlord didn't get the correct permit. So it was a real struggle for us when we first moved to Newark. But the good thing about it was we had our e-commerce and we had our Whole Food stores because we're still sold in 50 Whole Food stores. And we had our other wholesalers. So there's nothing we can do. We had signed the lease and we just decided to wait it out. So we did some workshops. The space was a lot smaller. We did some workshops and things like that. So we were able to get people that in that way and do some private parties. But basically, we waited 2 years for the Prudential Towers to open. And on the day it opened, we were just elated. 3,000 new people into the neighborhood. But you had to make sure that you marketed to them. They came down, they looked around, and then they sort of went back upstairs. So we're like, oh, we waited 2 years.
And this?
And this? Yeah, we want you guys to. So we did lots of different things. We did team building exercises where they can come in and, use the workshops for team building. We had delivery service. We did so many things to try to get the people really to come down and to shop. And we just realized that two things happened. One, people wanted to eat lunch. They came down, they ate lunch. They didn't shop as much. Once they explored their new neighborhood, after that, they sort of, they came down, they ate, and they went back upstairs. And two, we lost, just like you said, Raina, we lost so much of our community because we were in a very tight business district. So it was hard for people to get down there, and it was hard for parking, and our space was very small. So we weren't able to do the parties and all the fun things that we used to do. So since Puka is about community, we were pretty devastated to have lost a lot of our community. People did order online, but it just wasn't the same as the events that we used to do and that feeling that we used to have of, people coming in and us fellowshipping. And, we realized that, this wasn't for us. So actually just this week, we have moved into our sixth location. But this is business. You can't be afraid to move. If things aren't working, you've got to figure out what's wrong and what's the next plan. And Newark was actually great for us. We made great connections. We made great connections with Prudential. We got mentorship out of it. We got a lot of good press out of it. We made so many great connections. But our lease, which was a 9-year lease, which was in 3-year increments, so 3, 3, and 3, we had to renew. So this was the first 3 years in August, and the landlord said, do you want to renew for another 3? And we were like, nope. But it was a good 3 years. It was a learning lesson. We're still here. We're still thriving. But we knew we needed our community back. So we are back now sort of in a hybrid. It's retail / warehouse, and it's a beautiful location, and we're able to do pop-ups, we're able to do parties, and we're able to get our community back, because you hit the nail on the head with that. That's what makes Puka what it is the community. And we lost a little of that in Newark. But sometimes you have to take risks and you find out what works, what doesn't work, and you just, keep moving in the direction of what works.
Yeah,
And that's
and
what we're doing now.
you can't fear the journey because you learn so much, right? Something that may have
Yep.
be seen as a failure really isn't a failure because what you've learned is so valuable. Now that lesson will stay with you guys always and will definitely inform future decisions.
Most definitely. And every move, something phenomenal happened. Every move, we got some kind of great blessing. We've been in commercials. We made the cover of Black Enterprise. We've done so much in this business, and every move has something that like we can take with it. Like that was great when we were there. So I'm excited to find out what's going to happen in this new place. I know it's going to be something great.
I'm excited too. So,
Yeah.
so Dawn. So one of the things I've always wanted to ask you, right? And I've been a part of the Puka family for I want to say okay. So if I was like 16, so like 9 years now. Oh my God! Wow.
Yes.
So
Bye.
thinking about it, like there's definitely been a lot of other, let's say, people who are in the natural multicultural bath and body product space, right? And Puka distinctively, you guys always wanted to, well, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but what I feel is like you guys always want to stay true to who you are and stay true to that like handmade aspect of the brand. And there have been other brands who have kind of, I don't want to say sold out or gone really commercial, but why did you guys, or what was the decision or the thinking in kind of making sure that you always stay true to who you were and not really getting too big or too commercial?
Okay. I have two ways that I feel about that. Now,
Okay.
for us, for me, I know Puka is going to keep its integrity because of why I started. I started the business because I got sick.
Mm-hmm.
So now, 7 years after that, I'd say in 2007, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. So they finally figured out what it was. And, God is good. I'm doing well. I'm dealing with it holistically. Right now, I'm not on the medication, but I have a natural doctor, so it's all about food and diet and nutrition. And so Puka is what I would use because I do have an illness. And I started this company because I wanted to be healthier. So it's going to stay, the integrity of Puka is going to stay the way it is because it's part of my lifestyle. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to sell anything that's not my lifestyle. I don't want to sell anything that because I have MS or I have an illness or I want to be healthier, something that I wouldn't use. So
Mm-hmm.
it's only going to stay with, it's going to always stay with its integrity because it's something that, like I said, I developed for myself and for others, who maybe have ailments or just want to be healthier. So I know that we're not going to change that. But I do feel a certain way about, I know there's another company, there are other companies that when they get bigger and, people say, oh, now they've sold out. And I just feel like it's such a society of judgment, and
Mm-hmm.
I am so proud. I mean, I know there's one big company that people say that about, and now the company's not the same. As a Black woman, I am so proud of what she's done. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like she has been able to, yes, she may have changed the integrity of the products because when you go, and I've learned when you go into these stores, these Macy's and these Targets and these things like that, those products have to be able to stay on those shelves for a long period of time. They're not going to let you put the products on there if they're expired in 6 months. So that may not be a move for us, but for her, that, obviously that wasn't a problem. And she's grown this business to something where we as Black women should be proud, like over
Mm-hmm.
$2 million. That's something to tell our little girls. That's something that you can do. And now she can turn around and she can mentor and help to grow other businesses. So there's always a catch 22. Yes, the integrity of her products may not be exactly what she started at, but the things that she's able to do and grow in this business and how she's able to give back. And I know that she does give back and help the community and lift up other children and let them know like what, possibilities lie ahead for them. That's amazing. And that's how we grow as Black businesses because she's definitely pulling other Black businesses up behind her. And I do know that for a fact. So it's sort of a double-edged sword. For us, I know that we'll stay in that natural space because of me and my lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
But for her, there were other things that were for her more important, and growing her community and giving back to, her her society was more important. So I applaud what she's done as well. So it's two sides.
Yeah, definitely. And within the natural space products, like that industry or this space, what do you think is the toughest part and the most rewarding part of being part of this space?
Well, I think that is the toughest space. How do you grow out a business like that? You will hit that ceiling with distribution, because these big distributors, they want to know that these products can last on the shelf a lot longer. So you do hit that ceiling of, do I stay here and keep the integrity of my company, or do I grow this business and hopefully put money back into the Black community by growing this business, and maybe it's not, I have to put some of those things back in there. So I think that's a crossroads that every company, when they start to get those bigger orders, they come to those crossroads. So I think that's probably one of the biggest problems in the industry. Like, how do you grow the business and keep the integrity of the product? And I think what we have to do is start educating some of these places, some of these larger chains. Maybe they buy smaller orders, and they don't keep as much on the shelf, or I don't know what the answer is, but that has to be what we have to figure out, is how we grow and keep our integrity. We shouldn't have to choose, because it's something that's good for the community, and it should be good for individuals. Using natural products is definitely better for us. So how can we figure out how to not limit ourselves as entrepreneurs, and without giving up the integrity of our natural products?
I love that you said that, because it's something that, as Americans get more unhealthy, I feel like these bigger companies are going to have to start thinking about how are they contributing to that.
Right.
So I've never heard anyone talking about, maybe we need to actually educate distributors about,
Right.
The choices they're making and who they're bringing into their stores, and how they can also help
Right.
provide spaces for companies that deserve to be there too, but probably can't because of the restrictions that they have as of now. So I really love that you said that, and hopefully, a buyer at one of these big distributors is listening in and
I hope
talks to
so.
their boss, and maybe, you never know, Dawn. You never know.
Started on Dreams and Drive. That's right.
So I
Most
have a
definitely.
question from the audience. This is actually from my sister Naima, which you know.
Hi, Naima.
And she wanted me to ask, how do you maintain friendships, how did you maintain friendships as you were attaining more and more success? So, as you know, there'll be people in your life who will say they're your friends, and then they turn around and talk about you. Did you experience that? And if so, like, how did you make sure the people in your circle were the right ones as you were growing the business?
Actually, I didn't really. Well, if I experienced it, I didn't know about it. If they're talking about me behind my back, I don't actually know, which is a good thing. I think being authentic. I am, as you can tell, a very chatty person. So that part of the business I actually love, like meeting people and talking and getting to know people. And it's hard. The hard part about it is you meet so many people, and there'll be people that'll come up to me and say, "Oh my gosh, don't you remember me? I bought that guava butter." Like, oh my God, I sold thousands of those. I don't remember. But I think just, and I try to listen to people's story and just be open. People just really want to, share their story and tell you how they feel about your business and connect with you. So sometimes I don't always remember, but I always try to be open and have good conversation with people. I haven't really run into a problem where I feel like people are cozying up to me or trying to, really befriend me because of the business. Like I said, if they are, I don't really realize what they're doing, because I'm a people person. So I enjoy that part about the business of talking to people, and, I don't give out my personal phone number all the time. And I definitely have a small group of friends, like the Pukalitas, the other girls. Those are my good friends. And I mean, I have friends from, family. I keep my friends and family close around me. So, but there's always room for more friends and, more people. So that's something to me I think is a plus. Like, I haven't really worried about, sort of keeping people away or keeping a distance, or, making sure that people aren't trying to, if that's what they're doing, that's their karma. I'm not worried about it. So it's been pretty easy, like I said, because I am a people person. So I enjoy that part, meeting the people and, getting to know people better.
What's something you've learned about yourself throughout this 16-year journey that you don't think you may not have realized if you weren't necessarily going through building a business?
I'm stronger than I thought. And I don't know if that sounds like, like I'm patting myself on the back. But when I look at it, and I can only say this now, 16 years in, I'm proud that we've persevered because there have been some times when I was ready to quit and just ready to walk away. And I think I've grown in my faith, and I've learned that, you know what, I'm stronger. I can take I can take a take some hits and get back up. And, I used to think like, oh my gosh, this is going to crush me. And, I used to be so sensitive and emotional. And now I'm a lot tougher. I mean, I'm still, an emotional person, but I'm a lot tougher than I thought I was. And that sort of, it makes me smile. Like now when things happen in the business and, they don't go the way that I want them to, or, we have a major setback, it doesn't crush me. And, I'm proud of that. I've built up a thicker skin than when I was younger. So, yeah.
Do you have any personal mantras that you keep close to you?
Well, for me, I always say prayer, perseverance, and persistence, the three P's. And those are the things that get me. And one of those things gets me through something almost every day: prayer, persistence, or perseverance. I'm doing one of those three every day in this business that I can remember. So it's always about the three P's.
All right. And then lastly, Dawn, I want to ask you this. I know this is going to be a very cliche way to end our conversation, but what inspires you? Like, how do you find motivation on those days when you may be feeling low or when you may, ask yourself, like, why am I doing this? Like, you must have those days where those thoughts may run through your head, but what really serves as motivation for you?
Yeah, I have those days when those thoughts run through my head like every day. Maybe not every hour, but every day. You, you know what really inspires me? We do a lot of workshops. And when I see, especially like with either the young girls or even sometimes the women, and we show them how to make the products, with their own hands, just from things like from their kitchen or, aromatherapy, things you can use like lavender. And when you see how they're like, oh my goodness, like how they really start to grasp like how they can make a change in their life, that motivates me. And that actually gives me some, that makes me keep going. That I feel like, you know what, it's not just a bath and body product. We're educating people. We're also telling young girls about entrepreneurship when we do those workshops. Like those workshops sometimes are more for me than for the women and the girls that we're doing them for, because it makes me feel like this is something important. It's not just a bath and body product. We're showing young girls that they can be entrepreneurs. We're showing women that they can be a little bit healthier, and and hopefully that's helping to change somebody's health, which is maybe helping to change somebody's life. So the workshops, which we do a lot, are very instrumental to me. Like they're very beneficial, and I don't think people realize how much I get out of them, as opposed to what they get out of them.
Goes back to that nurse. You wanted to be a nurse,
It
Dawn.
does. But you know what? It works. I see the difference in my health with, taking out a lot of different things and, using, substituting things like maybe agave nectar instead of sugar and, lavender instead of, different kind of topical things. Like I see the difference in my health. So I'm so passionate about letting everybody else see the little changes that they can make. So I think my Nana nurses would be proud.
Dawn, the body nurse.
Yeah, that is so a hashtag. Go find a domain.
You have to do a meme, like you could do
Exactly.
a capture of you, holding
I love
your
it.
puka products.
The body nurse. I love it.
So let's go into our lightning round, Dawn. So this is the part of the interview where I'm gonna give you a prompt, and I want you to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. Okay?
Ooh, okay.
And this is gonna be using the metaphor of dreams and drives. So I'm just gonna be giving you the gear shifts in the car. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Park.
Boring.
Reverse.
Mm, wow. Turnabout. Thinking. Ooh, that's
Neutral.
um quiet.
Drive.
Excited.
All right. So if you want to be a
Oh,
dream
did I pass?
driver, wait, what?
No, I'm kidding. Did I pass?
Yes, you passed. You
Come on,
passed.
Jimmy.
Everybody passes. You get a car. Everyone gets a car.
Get the car.
All right. So since you have your car now, in order to be a dream driver, you have to make sure you have the keys to success. So tell me, Dawn, what are 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their toolkit before they hit the road? And really speak to our people who are listening in who are, they need this extra motivation. So these keys are going to be things that you think they really can use to help them put their dreams in drive.
I think you've got to have the passion. I think you have to have the passion for whatever it is that you're doing, because that is the thing that's going to keep you going. I mean, sometimes the entrepreneur journey, it gets tough. It gets hard. And if you don't have that underlying passion, then it's going to be hard to keep going. So make sure that you have a passion for whatever it is that you're doing. And I go back to one of those P's. You've got to have some perseverance, and you've got to have some thick skin, because there's a lot of ups and downs. But I believe if you have that passion, that you are going to make it. You just have to persevere. So hold on, don't give up. Surround yourself with really positive people who believe in your dream, because that's going to also help you on those times when you are feeling sort of down and feeling sort of tired. And just don't ever give up. If this is your passion and this is your dream, don't give up. I definitely believe that if it's your passion and your dream, it's going to come to pass. So all of those things you need to have in your toolkit. You've got to have that perseverance, and don't give up on your dream, and you've got to have that passion.
Thank you, Dawn. This was such a lovely interview, and hopefully, our dream drivers listening in also thought so. I feel like I learned so much, even though I felt like I knew the whole Dawn story already. But I definitely didn't know that you guys had like
It's always
20,000 locations before East Orange, and
exactly.
so this has been so wonderful. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Raina. This has really been great. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of you. Like,
Uh,
I feel like we helped.
and where can our listeners find you on social media, just so that I make sure that you guys can get that plug in. Tell them where they can find you.
Definitely. If you go to Instagram, we are at Pukalita. Facebook, we're at Puka Pure and Simple. Twitter, we're at Pukalita. And I actually have my own podcast, from the kitchen to the boardroom.com. And I have my own YouTube channel, a little silly, but I make my little funny videos. And that's at Dawn Fitch. And then Puka has its own Puka Pure and Simple YouTube channel. So we're all over social media.
And I'll link to that all in Dawn's show notes. So you guys can just go to Dreams and Drive and click on today's episode. And you can definitely get the direct links to all the social media channels so you can engage and, check out Puka. I love Puka, and I'm not getting paid to promote this or anything. I wear Puka all the time. Like, I can show you guys a picture of my I want to say my beauty shelf. I have my Puka Island Mimosa body butter on rotation now. End of summer, fall scent.
Nice. Good stuff.
All right. Thank you, Dawn.
All right, Raina. Thank you so much.
All right, so do you guys see why I love Dawn so much? Like, I love Dawn. I hope that you guys enjoyed listening to her tell her dream driving story and also share her personal keys to success to you all. One of the things that I hope that from each episode you guys are getting is, the motivation and inspiration that no matter what you're going through, no matter what challenges you face, as Dawn said, if you have those 3 P's, prayer, perseverance, and patience, you will succeed. I just want to say thank you to everyone who has supported this show since day 1, or maybe day 3, maybe day 28, day 360, whatever. Like, I appreciate all of you guys. I could not do this without you. So if you are listening in on iTunes or SoundCloud or anywhere across the board, please make sure you're subscribed to our channel, our station, our platform, so that you can get updated on every new episode coming out. And last but not least, if you really, really love us, leave a review, rate us, tell us what we can do to get better or what you already love about the show so far. I look forward to hearing all of your feedback. Follow us on social at Dreams and Drive. And as I always say, keep dreaming, keep driving, and we will chat in episode 38.